TJ, the Amazing Atheist, he just put up a video called How to Talk to a Grieving Atheist. And I thought I would say some things about that. I think the first thing is that life does seem to be cruel all the way around. That there are some people who, I guess, struggle through life, have hardship and loss, and so many of their goals are denied, and they have to die in the end. And there are other people who achieve their goals, have everything exactly as they want it, and then also they die in the end. There's this sense of the common fate that everyone suffers. And perhaps it is, an ultimate slip into radical, inconceivable non-existence. Okay, I think that's fair enough. The question, though, is for those of us who are still alive, we have to grieve for the loss of so many people. It could be a pet, could be a loved one, could be a friend or a neighbor, could be a stranger, could be, grieving over the loss of a certain ethos in the culture. There's so many different ways to grieve over loss. But I guess, death is really a good one to focus on. I think a couple of things. One is that when a loved one dies, say, your grandma, if your grandmother dies, no one can take your memories from you. That, when the ancients, talked about spirits and being haunted by the deceased, I think it was a fumbled language attempt to describe this problem of having memory and symbolic representation and the imagination that allows us to think about people and to entertain conversations with people who are now dead. And we live in those relations. I think part of the difficulty is that some people, I think, they believe they need God because they can remember the now dead. Let's see if I can explain this really quickly. It's that, there are many people who have committed promises to other people, and then they failed in that promise to that other, and maybe betrayed that other, and then that other died. Yeah, that actually happened to many people. They have unkept business. They have issues that still need resolve with people who are now deceased. And there's an agony and a suffering that comes because the person may seek forgiveness, but the person who they need the forgiveness from isn't there, and yet they can remember them. And so they're there in some way. And this question of, are memories real? Our memories are very real. Now, the person's really gone, but your memories of them, the relations that we have with the others, those relations exist, we could say, just in our minds and just in our memories, but those are the relations that make up the very fabric of our lives. And I think part of the reason that some people make an appeal to God is that they don't know who to turn to for forgiveness and for making amends with someone who now they can't do it anymore. And part of the question too is there a psychological need for this concept? Now, I think that maybe at this point in humanity we would need to be able to address it in more complicated ways, sophisticated ways, problems of self-relation. But I think for many people, traditionally, God was needed because people needed a source that they believed could forgive them for a wrongdoing, given the fact that the other who they need forgiveness from is now dead. And they didn't feel full prerogative. They didn't feel full license to just forgive themselves and go, well, now that they're dead, who cares? I don't need forgiveness at all. See, I think we might try to suggest that people should have the capacity to forgive themselves in acts of great wrongdoing. I mean, even, think of the case of murder, where someone kills someone in a fit of rage, and now the person who they need forgiveness from is gone. I think the need to say that someone else must sanction the forgiveness. Now, maybe it's the friends, it's other people who try to help that person come to terms with themselves and make amends for what they're grieving. I mean, I guess part of the issue is how much can people take prerogative to forgive themselves? Isn't there something psychologically dangerous, potentially, in telling people that they can commit to promises, commit to, trusted acts with others, and then betray those, and then simultaneously give themselves license to forgive themselves if they want to? It may be too much of a tolerance for people to handle. They wouldn't know where to draw the line, and the whole thing starts to crumble. I think traditionally, people, they petitioned to the gods in front of the community. It was a public spectacle. And then it became increasingly privatized, and the priest in the confessional served as an intermediary between the person and God. And the people, got to say what they thought they needed forgiveness for. I guess there are many different reasons why people grieve. There are, and I don't think it makes any sense to grieve over your own death. Grieving over your own death is really kind of strange and odd. Grieving over the loss of another, I guess, makes sense. And, the beauty is that no one can take those memories from you, and you can commemorate that other, you can remember that other, you can keep that other alive in spirit and deed by performing acts in the name of that person. I mean, that's one of the things that makes humanity so amazing, is the ability to act in reaction to someone who's no longer there, and have the no longer there-ness of the person be part of what we're reacting to. At any rate, those are some thoughts. Thanks.